folks, Papa Boris here, playing some more leaders. Let's see who wants to jump in and play with us today. I'll go ahead and just pause the recording until someone shows up, if no one shows up by the time I'm done finishing saying this sentence. Alright, we got someone. Larson25 wants to play some leaders today. Thank you so much for coming on by, Larson. Let's do it. So I'm the first player, and I found one of my favorite starting cards is the Royal Guard, because it's really, really easy if this is your first draft pick to just get in there super duper fast and, just get close to the enemy leader, which gives you some flexibility during the game. Now, my opponent flips up a really good top deck here, the Illusionist right there. Yep. So now if I move my leader up and do the Royal Guard up, my opponent can swap places. That doesn't really accomplish very much. So, my opponent's got the Claw. Man, my opponent's getting some good top decks. So the Claw and the Illusionist, these two long-range abilities are very, very strong. Okay, I'm still going to do it. We're still going to make the play because I'm relatively safe here. We'll go here. We'll just jump in there, put on some pressure. And what do we follow up with? Well, I do like the Brewmaster. I don't think the Nemesis, my opponent, is far enough. I've been experimenting with the Nemesis, and it has not been going well. But I don't think this really works, even though I have the leader here. Actually, maybe. Oh, God, I could try it. I could just take the Nemesis and then, shoot up. But the problem is that something else would have to threaten the leader besides my guard, and I don't have anything. So I could do the Assassin as a kind of, strategic move where I try to, cut off parts of the map. But I think I'll take the Brewmaster. It just seems a little bit safer. We'll put it over here. So my thinking is I'm trying to discourage my opponent from moving in this direction where he might be protected by the Claw, trying to encourage him to move in the other way. But that may be foolishness. We'll see. So I'm wondering, is my opponent going to go for this Gambit where they switch with my Royal Guard? They are. Okay. I appreciate the play. That's really awesome. So now my final draft pick maybe could be the Nemesis if I can get something else close to the leader. It's just a problem that if I can't get anything close to the leader besides my guard, then it's going to be very tricky for me. All right, well, I was going to take the Assassin, but we've got the Hermit and Cub here, so I think that's a reasonable play. Let's see. We're going to move the Brewmaster up. The leader should get out of the way of the Illusionist. And then the question is, do I want to move my guard here instead of being there? No, I kind of like the way it cuts off the enemy leader, so we'll just pass there. And we'll grab the Hermit and Cub. So I'll put the Hermit here on the same side as my opponent's leader. And then, very important when you're placing the Cub, make sure you don't put it somewhere where the Illusionist can swap with it or the Claw can pull up to it. I've lost a game due to doing that before. I could put it even on the same side as the Hermit and leave it here for defense for my king. But, no, I think we'll put it, here. If I put it here and I move with it, then the Illusionist can swap places with it. Now, let's just stick them both together. Maybe it would have been a little more precise to put the Hermit there, actually, and the Cub here. Okay, so the Bruiser shows up, which is a little tricky for me because now the Bruiser's not very appealing for me because my opponent has the Protector, which is a really, really strong counter to the Bruiser. But the opponent for their final draft could take the Bruiser, and then I don't really have anything that counters the Bruiser. So that is a very interesting possibility for my opponent. Okay, so my opponent puts the Protector there, which does kind of hem in their leader a little bit. So unfortunately, I never got anything like the Rider or the Wanderer, another character that would have let me jump in and get really close to the enemy leader super fast. Everything that I was offered needed to just kind of walk over. So I don't think it would make a lot of sense for me to take the Nemesis. We did get the Acrobat, though. That could be a contender here if I think about this carefully enough. I need to try to engineer something so I can jump in with the Acrobat really nicely. Okay, well, we're gonna try, let's see, let's put the Brewmaster here. I know the Brewmaster could get clawed, and that's okay. We're gonna move the leader and kind of take him on a journey to the opposite side. So the Brewmaster is just here kind of blocking the claw so that my leader can get by. And then I'll stick the Hermit here. And I'll move the Cub forward as well. And then I gotta think about where I want this Acrobat to go. So if I put it here, it's kind of threatening this sort of jump and that sort of jump. But the problem is that those are both easily countered. If I put it here, it's threatening to jump here, and that can be countered as well. If I stick it behind my own leader, then I can maybe have some flexibility by moving the Brewmaster. All right, we'll try that. I could also put it here and it could jump there, but I like the centralized idea. This is a little frisky. I'm not thinking about it super hard, so I could very well just slip up and get checkmated, but we'll see how this goes. So my opponent, everything is kind of far away from my leader, but there are two characters who can get there in a blink if needed. All right, my opponent is now exiting with the leader, which is pretty clever because it allows my opponent to get away, and then all my stuff is on the wrong side of the board. So that was some very nice maneuvering. My opponent swaps with the Illusionist to get the Bruiser closer, which makes sense because the Bruiser definitely wants to be near stuff to do some bruisings. Oh gosh, my opponent just blundered. My opponent had a really amazing position. All he had to do was put his claw here, and then I couldn't step away with my Brewmaster and have the Acrobat go jump, jump, because then, of course, the claw could just pull up my leader, and the Bruiser would step in to win. So I would have to settle... Well, no, that's not true. I could move the Bruiser, jump with the Acrobat, then move my leader. Okay, no, I'm wrong about that. I could have still done a jump, kind of an oblique one. Oh no, I'm wrong about this as well. No, if my opponent put the claw here, I could still go, I could move the Brewmaster and just go jump, jump. What my opponent overlooked, though, is I can just do this and then jump twice and checkmate the leader. So my opponent was actually in a little bit of a tricky spot. That centralizing of the Acrobat was very important there. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like and or subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.